Talk about tonight. Chennai Super Kings back in the top four. Lucknow Super Giants could find themselves out of the four after tonight's game, which we're going to preview. Mumbai Indians taking on SRH out one Katie. So let's not muck around. Let's roll bumper and get into the show. Well, the Chennai Super Kings had a bit of a turnaround against Punjab Kings last night. Punjab Kings were looking to beat Chennai 6 times in a row. And could they do it? No. Chennai Super Kings coming out victors with 28 runs. And I thought this was a bit of a surprise because I thought the Kings were starting to get a little bit of momentum. Bairstow, Rosso were really finding form with the bats. And you've got the other Indians that are in there that are really making a splash. And last night, the bowlers really stepped up. And there's one man that I'm really enjoying, Rahul Chahar, with his leg spin, the tall leg spinner from Punjab Kings, 3 for 23. And he was on a hat-trick last night as well. And getting the big wicket of Dubey with that beautiful wrong. And Dubey had no idea about it. And he's starting to find form. I'm loving the way that he's getting through his action. I think over the last year or two, he's just been putting the ball there. He's been a little bit nervous. Now that he's got his opportunity again, and he's just found a couple of opportunities where he's got some big wickets, crucial wickets, he's really starting to get that zip through the crease again. And you can see the drop, the drift on the ball, and he's really starting to trouble opposition players. And don't write him off to play for India again. With the form that he's in, I would think that he's a better option than Chahal to go to the World Cup, but the squad's already picked. I just like his leg spin because he's taller, gets extra bounce, and he's got more variation than Yazzie. But anyway, who else performed last night? Harsha Patel. 3 for 24, and what ripping last over he bowled. The ball he got Thakur with a slower dipping delivery and then getting out the legend MS Dhoni. MS Dhoni, you don't see him bamboozled too often, but he was absolutely done by Harsha Patel last night. And it's good to see him back in full form. And another one, his stats have been very good this year, and he's been very good out the death, where that's when he first came on the scene, where everyone thought, right, he's going to make a big impact in international cricket in the 2020 format, even the 50-over format, bowling in those death overs. He just went off the ball a bit at RCB. He's got another opportunity at Punjab Kings. Well done to Harsha Patel. Good to see him back. Who else performed last night? No one really from Chennai Super Kings, even though they won by 28 runs. Jadeja with both bat and ball. Now, the thing that I like about Jadeja last night with the bat, he was thrown back down the order where he should be batting all the time. Don't bring him back up to 4. Put him down there in those tough situations. Have the likes of Mitchell, Dubey, try and go after the bowling, make the most of many balls as possible with those big hitters to take on. If they don't come off, then you have the experienced Jadeja to come in the back end just to calm things down. And he did a great job last night, and it's good to see him pick up 3 wickets as well. The game before against Punjab Kings, he just lost his dial a little bit, but this is experience for you. Turn things around, and you forget what happened the previous game. So Jadeja's shown his experience there. It's all about resilience. But I've just got to mention before we go on to the other game that was played last night, his performance with the ball was set up by Deshpande with 2 ripping wickets of Bairstow and Russo. They were pearlers of deliveries with sheer pace. But those 2 wickets were set up by Santner, controlling it from the other end. Santner going 3 overs for 10 runs really set up the win for Chennai Super Kings. The Punjab Kings couldn't get advantage of him, and those 3 overs were the difference in the game. So Mitchell Santner good to see him in the lineup again and showing what he can do. So Chennai Super Kings, even though they've got a couple of injuries, showing the depth in their bowling department, and that's why they're still in the top 4 at number 3. And the way that they're going with the games that they've got left, I think they're going to finish in the top 4. So well done to Chennai Super Kings last night. Who was the other game last night? It was my mob, KKR. They had another big victory, and they beat Lucknow Super Giants. And simply, they've just got too much power with the bat. Lucknow Super Giants have got a brilliant bowling attack, but they just weren't able to control the power of Salt and Sunil Narayan out the top. Sunil Narayan, I just can't understand the form with the bat that he's got. Lucknow Super Giants were just putting the ball in his arc, and he was just free to hit it wherever he wanted. He was not put under pressure at all last night, old Sunil Narayan. And, I think opposition teams are starting to worry about him. They're starting to overthink what to bowl to him. It's just a good length and attack middle and leg. Try and cramp him for room. If he wants to back away, then go for the wide line. Last night, I know Mohsin Khan was trying to go the wide line, but he wasn't getting it wide enough when Narayan was backing away, and Narayan was just able to hit through the line over the covers. But the good thing about his batting, he's hitting it to both sides of the wicket. And then we know what he can do with the ball. He controls those middle overs, and Lucknow Super Giants were under too much pressure, and they didn't have enough power with the bat to be able to chase that big score of 230 plus down. So well done to Sunil Narayan last night. The thing that I like about KKR is that they've got a batting lineup which they can chop and change whenever they want, at will, depending on the circumstances that the game's in. Now, for me, I don't like changing the batting order when you've set your team up before a game. But these guys do it really well. When they've got off to a good start, they don't mind bringing Singh or Russell up the order to try and keep that momentum going and pushing the likes of Venkatesh Iyer, Shreyas Iyer down the order. And Ramadeep last night, he was sensational out the back end as well, just showing his worth. So they've got plenty of depth there. Venkatesh Iyer, wonderful performance against Mumbai Indians the other night. He's meant to be batting up the order, but they're willing to put him down because of the scenario of the game. So they're making players play certain roles depending on the situation. As long as the team understands it, that they're going to chop and change like that, it's fine. So KKR, for me, have got a well-balanced team, and it's going to be either them or Rajasthan Royals that are going to take this title out this year. I hope it's a final between those two teams because I played for both of them. Sorry, Chennai Super Kings fans and Sunrisers Hyderabad fans and Lucknow fans, but I'm going for those two. Talking about that, Sunrisers Hyderabad, they're taking on Mumbai Indians tonight, and this is going to be a crucial game. It's going to be a tough game for Hyderabad. They have not had much success at Wankhede Stadium over the last couple of years since we've had the last mega auction. So they'll be worried tonight, but they'll also be worried about a wounded Mumbai who, where they're out at the moment, they need a lot of games to go their way to be able to have a chance to get into the 4 at the end of the season. They're done and dusted. They're gone. So for Hyderabad, a wounded bull like Mumbai, it's a bit of a worry because they could come out and play with a little bit of freedom. But I think the captaincy of Pat Cummins will calm the farm down there at Sunrisers Hyderabad in their camp, and he'll make sure that they're switched on. He'll look at the past performances and go, right, this is where we haven't done well at Wankhede. These are the plans that we probably should execute here and go with to take on the Mumbai Indians. So I think they're going to have better plans here at Wankhede. And I think Hardik Pandya is going to be under a little bit of pressure tonight with the crowd there because the crowd won't be happy that where Mumbai are. And he might just get a little bit unsettled with a little bit of negativity there. But where I am worried about with matchups tonight, it's going to be the two opening pairs for a start. You've got Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma from Sunrisers Hyderabad up against Kishan and Rohit Sharma. I just think Sunrisers Hyderabad at the moment have got better power, more aggression out the top of the order. And if they can get going, they will blow Mumbai out of the water in the first 6 overs. But for Mumbai Indians to have success against Sunrisers Hyderabad, they've got to take wickets early. So for me, they've got to open up with Boomerang and probably bowl Boomerang at least 2 overs in the power play and try and get those breakthroughs. We've seen in previous times, Sunrisers Hyderabad lose early wickets, then they can't really keep their head above water throughout the game. It's all about dominating the power play. So Mumbai Indians have to go with Boomerang to take on these 2 powerful openers. The other matchup that I'm looking forward to is Klasan versus David. I think Mumbai Indians haven't been using David well enough. They've been leaving him so late in the innings and they haven't got the most out of him. I think they can bring him in when wicket falls around about the 12th, 13th over, give him a little bit of time to settle. And with that extra time, then he can make more use of those back end overs because we know the power that he's got. Give him a little bit more time, he can really make the most of it. Whereas Klasan, Sunrisers Hyderabad, back him in no matter what the situation is. If they lose 3 or 4 early wickets, they're still prepared to bring him in early and back themselves because they know if he comes off, he can rejuvenate the innings and get Sunrisers Hyderabad in a winning position. So Sunrisers Hyderabad are backing their players, no matter what the situation is, to play their natural game from any situation they're in. So if they fall down, Klasan still goes after the bowling, whereas Mumbai Indians are chopping and changing a little bit. And I think they could back David a little bit more than what they have. And that's probably why they're down the bottom of the table. There's one other guy that I'm really looking forward to tonight is Bhuvneshwar Kumar. I thought last game he is really starting to find his feet. We're starting to see the best of him again. And he's going to be crucial tonight against Rohit Sharma and Kishan. The way that he's moving the ball, the extra bounce that he may get here out Wankhede Stadium with that movement, I think he's going to get some early wickets and he might even get Sky early too. So watch out for that. Bhuvneshwar Kumar, him in his opening spell will be crucial for Sunrisers Hyderabad because Sunrisers need to win tonight to get into that top 4 and really put pressure on the other teams. And AK, who's helping me out behind the scenes here with all the video footage, goes for Chennai Super Kings. And he's hoping that Sunrisers Hyderabad lose tonight. And I'm going to jump ship here and go for Sunrisers Hyderabad because I want Sunrisers to put a bit of pressure on my mate AK and Chennai Super Kings because we've got a fan on now, Harish, who goes for Sunrisers Hyderabad. Now, Anupam, while we're going that way, while we're waiting for Harish, I'm just going to answer your question here because it's a good one. Why do you think Punjab always underutilise Harpreet Brar? His record isn't bad against left-handers. That is a good question, Anupam, because last night I felt that they didn't use him enough. He got belted 1 over and they didn't want to use him again. He's been one of the best bowlers that they've had, the most consistent. He's been very economical. And I do agree with you that they do underutilise him because I think he is a fantastic bowler. And, I think he should have been used a lot more. But you've got an English captain there, haven't you, in Curran. And he's a bit of a medium pacer and probably prefers pace than spin. And that's the thing that frustrates me. Spin gets hit, they don't want to go back to them that much. But if a pace bowler gets hit, well, they'll go back to that pace bowler quicker than what they go back to the spinner. So that's a very, very good pickup. Now, I'm trying to get my mouse across here. There it is. You asked a question earlier. During your time, this is Anupam again. During your time in KKR, did you ever expect Sunil Narayan to open the batting for KKR and play the way he is playing now? To be honest with you, no, I didn't. I always thought it was a huge risk sending him up the order. I just felt that it created a bit of unbalance, or it created uncertainty in the batting list. And during that particular time, we had Sky out KKR as well. And Sky was thrown around in different positions, given different roles. And for a young player at that stage that he was, I thought KKR didn't get the best out of him. They probably should have had Sky go up the order and open the batting and play with a little bit of freedom and had Sunil Narayan down. That's the way I thought we should have had our batting lineup back there. But some people see something different. Coaches see different things, and they take those big punts. And Sunil Narayan, they've taken a big punt on him, and it's paid off. But I also think too, Sunil Narayan opening with Salt out the other end takes a little bit of pressure off him as well, in a sense that bowlers know and start to realise that both openers from KKR are very aggressive, whereas before he wasn't really batting with an aggressive opener out the other end, or as aggressive with Salt. So Salt gets off to a good start. All of a sudden, bowlers are thinking, right, well, it's pretty tough to control Narayan, and they start trying different things to Narayan and going away from the basics. So Salt has a bit to do with Narayan's success as well. So that's a very good observation as well, Anupam. I don't know where Harish is. He might be having some technical difficulties.
Yeah, hi, sir.
Wolf FC. Well, there's Harish, but I've just got Wolf FC. Just hang on a tick there, please, Harish. Can we expect Mayank in for Amalpreet tonight for SRH? Well, Harish, this is a good question for you, because
Yeah, that's a good question. And even I would like to, even I would like to SRS should look at this. Like Mayank should come in instead of Anmolpreet, because Anmolpreet hasn't played 2 matches well. So
hang on, you so did you say you want Mayank in? Did you? You just cut out.
Yeah, Mayank should get in.
Yep. Where would you bat Mayank?
Because like he is an experienced player, he can play for some time. Like not Anmolpreet is not an experienced player, so it will be better for Sunrisers if they go with the experienced player, that at the top order.
Right. So that's the way you would go.
Yeah,
Okay,
because we can see like in power play itself, they are losing wickets, 2 or 3 wickets at the power play itself.
Yep. I agree with you there. But with the success that you've had, with the aggression that you've had, and you've blown other teams away, why wouldn't you keep having the lineup that you've got there? Because someone like Mumbai Indians would be feeling the pressure, and they know that if Sunrisers get away in the power play, all of a sudden they're on the back foot and they become unstoppable.
Yeah.
So yeah. So for me, Mayank, I think if you're going to bring him in the team, I wouldn't have him opening the batting. But is he good enough to bat down the order underneath plus arm? Yeah, that's the problem with having Mayank there. Now, anyway, you've got some questions for me.
Yeah. So my first question is like, do you think that Hardik Pandya's captaincy is the biggest issue in MI's downfall this season?
Oh, definitely. I just think Hardik Pandya had so much on his plate coming from Gujarat Titans back to Mumbai Indians. That was a big move because he grew up in Gujarat and he's got a bit of love there. But he's also a Mumbai Indians player. That's where he started his career. So I think he was conflicted emotionally before he got there. And then taking over the captaincy from someone like Rohit Sharma, they have big shoes to fill, especially with the record that Rohit Sharma had. So that's probably one of the issues for Mumbai is the leadership, especially with the reception that he got from the crowd. I think that put him off his game as well. But I also think with Mumbai Indians, they've been chopping and changing their team a bit. They really haven't been settled. They don't know what roles their players have. I think there's one player in there as well who did really well, and that's Watera. Watera did really well last year, and they didn't back him out the start this year. And for me, you can't afford to do that. You've got to back those players that did the job for you last year, because he's a young player. He came on the IPL scene and he played some big games out the end to help them get to their finals, and they didn't reward him. So you've got to reward players like that. You just can't say, well, you did your job last year, we're not going to give you a go early this year. You're going to have to fight your way back in. Watera earned his position in that lineup. So they're the little things that I'm concerned with Mumbai Indians. And I think, they also losing Jason Berendorf was a big loss, because he's very economical with the new ball, gets wickets, and I don't think they've found someone of that caliber to fill his shoes. So that's another issue. Good question. Have you got another question there? What's your second one?
Yeah, like over the last few matches, you could see that SRH has lost most of the wickets in the power play. Should SRH capitalize on the early wickets they are losing?
Yeah, this is where it gets you get a little bit of a concern, but you've got to think of the mental aspect of it, because you can start asking your players to go in their shell and go, let's play a little bit more conservatively in the power play overs. All of a sudden, you'll have someone like Travis Head, instead of playing through the line of the ball, he'll just dab at it. And when he dabs at it, that's where he gets the outside edges. And also Abhishek Sharma, he's been batting sensationally as well. So let those guys go after the bowling. I think if you're going to ask someone to be a little bit more conservative in the power play overs, I'd give that role to Aidan Markram, because he's probably more suited to that particular role. But then in doing that, if he slows down that momentum in the power play, and then the middle overs getting into the 10th over, all of a sudden you're putting pressure on the lower order and Klasan as well. So you're asking Klasan to try and make it up out the back end. So you've got to be very careful with that. So for me, I think it's a sensitive topic in a Sunrisers Hyderabad change rooms. But I'll be asking Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma at the top, just keep going for it. Keep going for it. Play your natural. If you see it, hit it. If you don't, the only person I'll be talking to calm it down would be Aidan Markram if they lose early wickets. But if they're 40 or 50 after 4 or 5 overs, I'll be telling Aidan Markram, you've got to keep going out in the middle. But that's probably the only issue for Sunrisers Hyderabad, is losing early wickets in the finals. But that's the game they play, and
even they have issues in the bowling too. Initial phase of bowling, they are like losing more runs over there, and at the end of the from 15 to 20th over, you could see that they are managing to the last victories were like from 15 to 20th over only they got the winning.
Yep. So just repeat what you said there, sorry. So in the last 15, 20, last
15 to 20
overs,
they were trying to win the matches at that end. At initial stage, they were giving a lot of runs. They couldn't capitalize.
I think if you're looking at this year's IPL, you basically you're winning the game with your performances in the power play. If you dominate that power play, all of a sudden you're ahead of the game, and you've got to keep that momentum going. I think the times nowadays to try and make it up out the back end are very difficult. There's probably only 2 grounds where I'd be confident in doing that. That's Bangalore and or Bangalore, should I say, and Wankhede, because those wickets, short boundaries, the ball still comes on relatively well, the ball comes on truly for a longer period of time, generally.
Even in Kolkata also.
Yep, Kolkata. Kolkata, yep, I agree with you. But the other two venues, all the team meetings I was in, we all felt that you could make it up out the back end on those two venues. While you're talking there, I'll just while you ask the next question, I'm just looking at the toss time, see who's won the toss. MI have chosen to field. That's not well. It's good in one way because there might be duel around, but I don't think it's really going to affect the Sunrisers Hyderabad bowlers because they're all pace bowlers. But I think it's good for Sunrisers to bat first because then they don't have to worry about chasing a big total. And I think where they find their problems is chasing. When they're chasing, that's when they seem to lose the early wickets more often. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yep. All right. What's your next question while we're waiting for the teams?
My next question is what are your thoughts on selecting Akshar Patel instead of Nitish Kumar Reddy for the T20 World Cup this year?
Now, you're Sunrisers Hyderabad fan. I can see where you're coming from here. I just think Akshar Patel offers more with the ball. I think going over to the West Indies, over that particular region, I think that India are backing spin with the conditions that have been seen there over the last couple of years. So I think Akshar Patel is a good acquisition. I also think it adds depth in your batting, and I think you'll need that in this year's World Cup because I think teams will be playing a little bit more aggressive than before. I think with the Indian spinners that they've got over there, Akshar Patel, Jadeja and Kuldeep Yadav, I think those three can be very economical, but also you've got Kuldeep Yadav there who's a big wicket taker. I'm a bit worried about Chahal in the spin department, especially bowling to left-handers. I think that's a big issue going over there. So if I was looking at Nitish Reddy to take on Akshar Patel, I can't agree with any argument there to have Nitish Reddy in there at the present moment. I think he might be able to slot in as an all-rounder, and he might even take Hardik Pandya's position as the all-rounder there in 2 years' time if his bowling comes on. I'm quite impressed with his bowling at the moment, so he's good.
Yeah.
So he's a little bit of talent there. I'm just while I'm looking over here, I'm just looking at the other screen that I've got. I'm just trying to get the teams up, but can't see any teams at the moment. What's your next question there?
Next question is Natarajan and Ruturaj not getting selected in India squad. So do you think selector should have gone with these guys?
With Gaikwad, I can't see having him selected in the Indian team. The reason being is at an international level, I think you can control him a lot more than Jaswell. I don't think he has the range of shots as Jaswell. He looks to the offside all the time. So for me, you can cramp him for room, and he doesn't score freely on the leg side, especially early. As he gets later on in the innings, and it's not the strong bowlers that are bowling, that's when he tends to access the leg side. So that's why I wouldn't have Gaikwad in my Indian squad in a T20 World Cup. When it comes to the other forms of the game, 50-over cricket, yes, I'd have him in the team. There's an argument there. Natarajan, I totally agree with you on Natarajan. I think he's a better option than Arshdeep Singh. Looking at his records over the last 2 years, he's been sensational in the death overs, not only picking up wickets, but his economy. So I'd like to have Natarajan in that Indian squad, bowling with Boomer in the death overs. Would you have him over in the bowling with Boomer, or would you use him for a couple of overs to bowl with the spinners in the middle order as well? Because I think he can do a bit of a ramen job with the spinners in those middle overs. So that would be the big question, having Natarajan in there. But I cannot disagree with anyone saying Natarajan should be in that squad. I think he
Yes, the ability to.
deserves the right to be in there. It's probably his age as well, and the Indian selectors are looking for the future, so that's probably why Natarajan's not in there instead of Arshdeep Singh. I think they see a bigger future for Arshdeep Singh. But for me, it's a World Cup. You have your best bowler that you possibly can in there. So I agree with you on that one. And you've got one more question for me?
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
What's your take on India's all-rounder department? Should the Indian team focus on developing good all-rounders instead of relying on batsmen and bowlers separately?
That is a very good question. Look, if you can nab an all-rounder, like when Shane Watson was at his peak, Fred Flintoff was at his peak for England. You really, they are gold. They are big bonuses to your team. But for me, if you're going to look out an all-rounder, it'd be someone like Jadeja who bowls a little bit of spin. Hardik Pandya for me, I don't think he's the ultimate all-rounder that you want in the Indian lineup, because he doesn't really have the extra power game with the bat.
Yeah.
And where do you bowl him with the ball? Because during this IPL, where he's opened up, he's struggled with opening the bowling, then he's bowled some middle overs, and he's really got a bit of tap. So if there's a situation there where you've picked the team and it's not spinning and the spinners aren't playing a big part, then you go to Hardik Pandya. India could really get blown out of the water there. That's probably the big worry. But for me, if I was the Indian lineup, and you don't have that all-rounder, you'd back 6 batsmen and 5 bowlers. And you've got so many good keepers there that can bat. So they're specialist keepers that hold their own in there as frontline batters. So for me, if your top 6 don't get the runs, generally you're going to lose the game anyway. So I think you don't need a full-blooded all-rounder in there as such. I think 5 specialist bowlers and 6 specialist batsmen, that's perfect for a T20 World Cup, because your bowlers are very important. Your defensive game is crucial. If you don't have a good defensive game, it doesn't matter what list of batting you have, because if you're trying to make up, so let's say you're trying to make 30 in it's going to be too difficult. Looks like we're having a few technical problems. I think it might be over here in Perth. But have you got any other questions?
Yeah, even when you see Mumbai's top batting lineup, Rohit Sharma and Ishan Kishan are not powering themselves. So they are losing their wickets early in the power play itself. So do you think that because of losing wickets in the power play, MI are not going to capitalize on?
Yeah, you're talking about Ishan Kishan and Rohit Sharma in the opening position. They have not been at their best this particular year.
Yes.
Rohit Sharma made 100 earlier on against Sydney. This does not sort itself out. Here we are. I'll continue to answer that question. I just think Rohit Sharma and Kishan just have not performed well at the top of the order. I just think one of them, both of them haven't really come off for the whole tournament, and that's a big worry. If your opening batsmen aren't doing the job consistently, you're always going to find yourself on the back foot. And for me, I think Rohit Sharma even though he can make those big scores, he doesn't really make it up the back end like a Virat Kohli. If Virat Kohli goes slow at the start, then all of a sudden he's ultra aggressive out the back end.
Yes.
I think Rohit sometimes doesn't have that change of gears as consistently as what Virat Kohli has. And that's probably the only bit of kryptonite for Rohit Sharma in the T20 format. So we're just rightio. It looks like we're back. So for me tonight, Sunrisers Hyderabad will win. I'll win. All right, Harris, how are you going? Who are you going for tonight? Obviously, Sunrisers Hyderabad. Will they win?
Yes, I think that SRH can win today.
Because